Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Greece for the Greek Grand Prix. I am Project User, your commentator for today, and right now we have qualifying on with Loosebot in the lead of qualifying on provisional pole for the moment. Loosebot's going purple in the first sector. That means that it's the quickest sector of the session in the first sector. Let's see if he can keep the same consistency during his lap. It's a personal best second sector, and he flips. That is not a good end to the lap for Loosebot. As Love Majority takes provisional pole from Loosebot, setting two personal best sectors and a unimproved final sector, goes 3/10 faster than everyone else. Another person to watch for is YT Derek, who has been very quick throughout the three practice sessions. It seems like a lot of drivers are having issues with the curbs. Some people are flipping on them, which shouldn't happen, especially considering that these are very shallow curbs compared to other circuits. There you see just Miriam going through Sector 2 now. Noah Gamer, the person who is leading the championship at the moment, with his Advan teammate on pole, will be looking to improve as he sets the fastest second sector on the track right now, and it does seem like he might improve. He takes a fair line through the chicane. This is probably the pole up for Noah Gamer, and it is by over 6/10 compared to his teammate, the Advan team. 1-2 in qualifying right now. Let's see if they can hold this. You see Loosebot on your screen right now, our one-time race winner, winning the sprint race at Australia, having a very interesting strategy there. Let's see if he can give himself a better position than his teammate for the sprint race. He doesn't seem to be improving on this lap, and he does pit his lap. Majority, the P2 man, is currently improving his lap. He's improved in the second sector as well as the first. I'm sure that this is a great opportunity to close the gap to his teammate, who is on provisional pole right now. as I was saying, Love My Geordie, who's improving on his lap, seems to have either binned his final sector. Speaking of binning final sector, Charles Rowe Racing account slamming into the wall on the exit of the chicane. Josh School, the man on your screen right now on the mediums, going very slowly in the Evangelion car. I believe he is waiting for slipstream. That is the strategy that we saw in the other circuits, and we saw it in F1 today during qualifying. He hits the wall. This might not be a very good first sector for him. No Gamer goes fastest in the first sector. Let's see what he can do in the second sector. It's a very clean line through there, and he has the slipstream of the Craig YT Derek, so this will definitely help him through this next section here. He can't improve his second sector, but maybe he can bring back whatever time he has lost in the final sector. Let's see this now. It's a clean line through the second chicane, taking a bit of the bump, and he does not improve his time. I'm guessing that he lost a lot of time in the middle sector. Shroshit's School, the subject that is still on your screen, is not been able to improve in any of the two sectors. Let's see if that will change in the final sector. To me, it does not look like it will, but yeah, no, he hasn't. So Noah Gamer will not be making another lap of the circuit, but his teammate Love My Geordie will. Another person I haven't noticed is Loosepot, who's improved his first sector, taking the slipstream from his teammate, gone purple in the second sector, and has taken a very good line through the final sector. He takes P2, very, very close to Noah Gamer. Love My Geordie now, improving his first sector. Let's see if he can carry the same speed going through into the second. He does not, oh no! That's a very interesting flip by one of the brand stars. I believe that's Lambo Fan 555. He's just made a very big mistake in the second sector. So it is Love My Geordie, who's gone P2 after improving his final sector. He's gone purple, so that seems like that Advan team has received every single fastest sector in this session. This Advan team is seeming very much unbeatable at the moment. So it goes both Advan cars, Noah Gamer first, Love My Geordie second. Then it is both Torun cars, Loosebot first and Toot second. This certainly shows the driver hierarchies in these teams. There's Boa Crafter in the Fleet car, followed by Shroshek School. I believe this is one of his best qualifying positions in F2, especially for that Evangelion team, who was formerly known as X21 in the first race, so it's a very big step up in terms of performance for that team. Followed by YT Derek in the Crake Stealth, Lacopiade in the other fleet, and then the other Evangelion of just Miriam in the top 10. He's in P9 at the moment, followed by both brand stars, Water Department coming first of the two. Then it's Broman and Omnius in one of the Audi cars, followed by Charles Rowe Racing Count in the Vexala, and then it is both of the Porsches. Incognito Bear, someone who was in Crake in the last few races, has moved to Porsche for this race, so it is both Porsches, Incognito Bear first, Reset second, and then we see the rest of the Crakes, Tactical, or Tackard we call him, in the Craig, followed by Dilwan in the McLaren, and finally Look Sexy in the other Craig. So we've been told that it will be 11 laps for our sprint race. It seems to be Advan's very first front row lockout. We'll be back in a minute after our intro. Hello and welcome to Season 3, Round 3 of the Ion Formula 2 Championship. We are in the north of Greece today, specifically Thessaloniki, a track we saw last season and now we will see in action again. Thessaloniki, of course, had people living here over 270,000 years ago. That's evidence, of course, we don't know that for sure. And when the city was founded in 315 BC. It was named after Alexander the Great's sister, Thessalonike. Let's have a look at the track then. A very fast-paced circuit today provides us with 18 corners, 11 to the left and 7 to the right, 7 of which being heavy braking zones. Let's have a look at the elevation then. Just over 41 studs of elevation change throughout the track. And the circuit does play host to two DRS zones, both placed on the longest straights on the track and crucial to aid overtaking into the hard braking zones they have ahead. As I was saying before, it is the first front row lockout for the Advan team, and a second row lockout for the Tarun team. This seems to be a very 2x2 sort of track. So we have drivers lined up on the grid. Now we'll be waiting for the formation lap. Sometimes we just have a couple of people that we need to line up on the grid first. The Copiade seemed to have left after qualifying P8, if I'm not mistaken. Which I'm not. He did leave after qualifying P8, but he is back now and he is finding his grid slot. So, the race director is just verifying that they are ready to start our sprint race. And he's given it the all clear. We should be seeing our drivers set off for the formation lap very soon. Oh, I'm mistaken. It's a watch the lights call then. There's the 5 lights. After a very long wait, they are out. It's a very bad start for Noah Gamer by the looks of it. He was quite slow getting off the line, but it seems to be even worse for one of the Tarun drivers, as the Evangelion driver of Shroshek School makes up some places, now in P5 now. And both of the fleets looking racy, challenging the 2 Taruns at the front. It's very close. Between the entire field at the moment, it's very hard to tell where everyone is, but it seems to be a close battle now between Loosebot and Noah Gamer. These seem to be the 2 drivers that will be battling it out again. Bit of context to F2 on lap 3 of our sprint race, the race we are having right now. The collisions will be turned on, which means you'll see a red flag on some of the displays, if there are any around the track. It's a big mistake from Noah Gamer going a bit wide, allowing Loosebot to pass him. See if any drivers make any mistakes going into the final couple of corners. Loosebot taking the fastest lap. Loosebot pulling away from Noah Gamer. And a couple of drivers, such as Toot, has fallen back, but YT Derek, the person who started in P7, has made his way up to P3, and I'm sure he'll be set on not losing that position anytime soon, as he goes wide. Love my Geordie, the person who got P2 in the feature race last race at Suwon, is now in P4. Oh, I might have missed Noah Gamer making a mistake, because he's battling now with YT Derek for P2, but it seems to be YT Derek that has the pace advantage, as Loosebot himself has made a mistake. This is leaving a great opportunity for Noah Gamer and YT Derek both to pass him. These drivers will not want to be this close when the collisions turn on just now. There it is, collisions on in 5 seconds. These drivers will not want to be battling as close as they are without collisions. There we go, the collisions are on. We'll start seeing some drivers hitting each other. Lambo fan, a person who wasn't very high up in the order during qualifying, has made his way up a bit further, but that might be a timer glitch. I think that was a timer glitch. So, it's Coots in P3, and it's Noah Gamer has dropped back a lot. I think I might have missed him being hit or something. He's behind the McLaren of Dillon, so there's one way that he's lost a lot of time. Boa Crafter, one of the drivers that we saw a bit further down during qualifying, has made his way up to P4, overtaking Love My Geordie, who is trailing him, followed by Shroshek School. Lambo fan, P7, who started from P11 now. as we see him make a huge mistake and get hit, and I believe hits just Miriam towards the back of the field. As we see a big collision between Lambo fan and just Miriam again. He cannot be making these sort of mistakes. Whitey Derrick will be looking to close the gap on Loose Spot as they enter the fastest section on the track. You could sort of say it resembles Magnets and Beckett's at Silverstone, apart from a bit more elevation change. You get told that Toots will be getting a 2-second penalty. He apparently jumped the start. I didn't see that myself, but Whitey Derrick certainly closing the gap on Loose Spot. He's gone from 1 second now down to 7 tenths. It's not just a matter of catching the driver in front, it is passing them, which sounds a lot easier than it actually is. Oh, Whitey Derrick might have gone back into the back of Loose Spot, spins around, but Toots doesn't seem to be close enough to capitalize on it fully. That's lost him a bunch of time, considering that he is right behind Loose Spot, the leader of this race. Cast our eyes back now to Noah Gamer, our pole sitter and lap 1 race leader. He is currently battling with Dil1 in the McLaren and Omnius in the Audi. He'll be looking to get past all of these drivers very quickly, as he won't want to be staying here for too long, especially considering that he is a race leader and a race winner in the F2 Championship and the championship leader at the moment. Seems like Derrick has lost a bit of confidence, falling back further towards Toots, but I'm sure he'll get back on his feet very soon. No Gamer has moved up into P10 now. He'll be chasing down the drivers in front of him, which are Tactical Roblox Pepsi and Dil1 in the McLaren and Creek, not respectively. If you flip the two around, you'll get the right numbers. Tackard in the Stealth Creek seems to be losing a lot of time compared to other drivers around him. Whitey Derrick has the fastest lap, which means he's pulled away a lot from Toots, and he's pulling away, like majority, the feature race second place is now down to P4. As we see reset spinning around and we see it officiated. Toots has got a 2-second time penalty. Oh, and Loose Spot has pit. Loose Spot's come into the pits, he's on the medium tyres. I didn't get to see what tyres he started on. Seems like Torun is going for one of those interesting strategies again, where they pit in the sprint race and try and gain back whatever time they lost on the fresher tyres. Loose Spot comes out behind Incognito Bear, but Noah Gamer is behind Loose Spot. That means that Loose Spot has lost 5 places, 6 places from pitting. We see Lecopiade and another driver leaving the pit lane. I believe that is the Porsche of Reset, a driver who was previously behind him. Maybe Lecopiade had a bit of oddities when he was pitting. Whitey Derek in the lead is gapped very far from Love My Geordie. It's Toots, a driver who was in P2, has fallen back a lot on the hard tyres that he's on, and he comes into the pits now. Incognito Bear, a driver that started a lot further back, now moves up into P3, 4? I'm not sure. P4, yes. P4, she moves up to P4 now. From P15 where she started. Loosebot set the fastest final sector of the lap, so maybe he's pushing, and he confirms that, going purple in the first sector. He's going to be looking to catch up to the leaders as soon as possible. They'll have a significant tyre deficit to Loosebot, so it will be interesting to see how this plays out for the Turin driver. Thanks to the rather large nature of Greece, we haven't seen a lot of collisions, but Loosebot doesn't improve his second sector, so will he still be able to set the fastest lap of the race? We'll find out in just a second. He is, and he's pulling a lot on the leaders, or certainly people who are ahead of him, gaining tenths, even seconds through certain sectors where they are struggling more with their tyres. Whitey Derek now, if we look on at him, he's struggling a lot with the rears. You can see him squirming out of the corners. He's going to be very careful now, especially considering that he has the lead, but in doing so, is losing a lot of time to Love My Geordie. And Loosebot. Even further by 2 seconds in that sector. Loosebot, with 2 laps essentially remaining, has 9.2 seconds to the leader. It might not seem like he will be able to catch the leader, but it doesn't mean anything at the moment. Any mistakes can be made. Love My Geordie is certainly pushing behind Whitey Derek in order to catch up with him, getting 5 tenths in that sector alone. I'm not sure it's more of a tyre deficit, but more of a combination of 2 factors. Whitey Derek making mistakes, and Whitey Derek trying to drive more conservatively as he comes around to lap his teammate Lux DF Alt. And my Geordie putting the gap down to 2.7 as we see the crate cell spinning, and he seems to be stuck on the curbs. Whitey Derek taking it very conservatively. As we see, it seems as if Love My Geordie has made a mistake because he has made a gap form between the 2 drivers. Either Whitey Derek has started pushing a bit more than he was, or Love My Geordie has made mistakes, or his tyres have burnt out, but we cannot discount Loosebot. Oh, we can, as he spins into the wall. I think he hits the bump and spun around, so that's going to be very unfortunate for him. Whitey Tarek seems to be cruising home to the lead incognito bear, battling with Water Department, but seems to have lost out, maybe got hit, as we see Bullet Crafter and Water Department going at each other. That Prix stealth car is still stuck on the curb in the second sector. My Geordie has been pushing throughout this race to try and catch the leader, but all his efforts be in vain. Whitey Derek takes a very clean line through the final two corners to come home and win, swerving across the line to win the sprint race. Love My Geordie following him closely in P2, and it seems like Loose Sport has taken a very good, solid P3. Buttcrafter, a man who wasn't very competitive in the first half of this race and pit, comes home P4, followed by Water Department in the Brandstar. Noah Gamer, the pole sitter for the sprint race. The sprint race is in P9 after making what seems to be a rather large mistake at the start of the race, costing him what could have been a race win. I'm sure he won't be too happy with himself. In the last few moments of the race, we're waiting for the drivers to line up for the feature race. For those that don't know, during the feature race, the results from the sprint race will be used as qualifying results, with the top 10 being reversed. The drivers lining up for the feature race. The man on pole will be Dil1, and in P2 is Noah Gamer. Hopefully Noah Gamer can get a better result from the feature race than he got in the sprint race. Otherwise, this entire race weekend will just be in vain for him. So we will have 22 laps of Formula 2 racing ahead of us. So we're just waiting for the last couple of people to line up in their correct grid slots. You can see the drivers getting told to jump out and in. That is so the names are picked up by the leaderboard system. Seems some drivers haven't jumped in and out of their cars, but we will see right now. Alright, for what is hopefully the last time this weekend, the 5 red lights are on. It's a good start for Noah Gamer, climbing off the line a little bit there, but it seems like he is able to gain up and keep that P2 position, as Toots seems to be challenging for the lead. at the moment. It's still very close between Noah Gamer and Gilwan for the lead of this race. Looking back in the field, Boat Crafter, the person who was in P4 at the end of the sprint race, has made a mistake along with a few other drivers, including Charles Rowe Racing Account, who is at the back of the field right now. Loosebot started P7 now, is up into P5, setting the fastest first sector. So it's Noah Gamer, followed by Doan, followed by Toots, but that order might change at the next timing line. It's very close between the top 8 now, only separated by 2 seconds. The fastest sectors held by 2 different people, Shroshek School and Loosebot. Whitey Derek, though, does set the fastest lap of the race in P4, followed by Loosebot and Dylan, our pole sitter for this race. Noah Gamer is up into P1 after a disappointing result in the sprint race. Shroshek School, the man that won a F2 podium on the last lap of the Australian feature race, is now up into P2, followed closely by Whitey Derek, the fastest man on track right now. But that might change as Noah Gamer goes fastest in the first sector. Let's see if he keeps his pace going through the second sector. Looking back through the field, is very close between P7 and P14. Very close battle between those drivers as Loosebot sets the purple second sector, with Noah Gamer setting a purple first sector. Noah Gamer not being able to improve in the second sector. Anyway, Whitey Derek pressuring Shroshek School. They're tied for the P3 position at the moment, and one of them will certainly be aiming to get P2 and go further than that, potentially challenging Noah Gamer for the win of this race. These two squabbling, though, will leave a good opportunity for Loosebot to come and catch up to them. Love my Geordie. The other Advan has not had the greatest of starts, all the way down in P14 at the moment. Right, so Shroshek School, the person who is in P2, is still battling with Whitey Derek for that position. It's very close between these two drivers, but they are losing a lot of time to Noah Gamer and certainly Loosebot, who is catching up to them at a very fast rate. Looking back for the field, it's a very close battle for P14, not one of the most important positions, but it's certainly one that people seem to believe is worth fighting for, as Love My Geordie moves one step closer to the points, with Incognito Bear being the only person that stands between Love My Geordie and the points. As Whitey Derek now seems to have caught up a little to Noah Gamer and seems to have lost that advantage they had going over a bump. That is the sort of mistake you cannot make when challenging for a podium. Let's look back a bit further to the field. The battle for P10 is only just getting started between Incognito Bear, Lambo Fan, and Love My Geordie. Love My Geordie will be the person that will want to capitalize on all of this. As Loose Spot starts to get in on the action for the podium fight. It's very close between these two drivers. It seems to be a rather staggered gap from Noah Gamer, from Shroshik School to YT Derek and Loose Spot, all challenging and potentially candidates for the race win, of course, with just under 17 laps remaining. So Noah Gamer, our current leader, is in the lead by a second. Let's see if that gap changes. It does change, but in a negative way for Shroshik School and YT Derek, all falling back, making themselves even more vulnerable to the Tarun of Loose Spot. It's very interesting to see these battles shaping up between these drivers. And I'm sure this will go on for a rather long time, considering no driver has lost or gained time relative to the three drivers battling for P2 at the moment. I say that as Loose Spot loses a lot of time. I'm not sure what happened to him. I think he made a mistake, and that's not very good for YT Derek, who has made a very big mistake. That's going to cost him a whole lot of positions, all the way down to P9 now. He's gone from P2 to P9 in P3 correction, P9 in less than a couple of seconds. But he can gain a couple of positions back, considering other drivers will seem to have made mistakes, including Loose Spot is falling back to the fleet driver of Locopiator, a driver that we didn't really see during our sprint race. There you see the replay of YT Derek in slow motion. That's really unfortunate for the Crake driver. Noah Gamer is gapping the other drivers at the moment, or it seems as if Shroshik School has made a mistake. That's put Loose Spot a lot closer to the Evangelion driver. The gap between them previously was just over 4 seconds. It's fallen down to 2. And it sure seems to be getting a lot less comfortable for Shroshik School, who comes into the pits now. Coming into the pits to replace his... I can't see which tyres he was on. To replace his hard tyres very early on in this race, considering the compounds that he is on. And so does Noah Gamer coming into the pits, including his teammate Love My Geordie, who gained up a lot of positions there by the looks of it. All other drivers are pitting now. Loose Spot and Copiade, P1 and P2 respectively, now are gapping Shroshik's core, who has come into the pit very recently. So, will this undercut work for these drivers? Especially considering that the gap might be lessened, considering that these drivers will have a significant tyre advantage to the drivers in front of them. This could be a very good strategy call by the Advan team, including trying to get Love My Geordie from the poor position that he was in up a bit further. However, it does leave a opportunity for Whitey Derek, a driver that had made a very big mistake, costing him a lot of positions, a new chance to gain those positions back, even if he has a disadvantage in terms of tyres. And the gap between Loosebot and Noah Gamer is barely 14 seconds at this point. 12 seconds now. Loosebot pits. He will not have the gap to Noah Gamer, so it does seem like Noah Gamer will have the provisional lead of this race, considering that Lecopiade has not boxed and will be on very worn tyres. Lecopiade doesn't seem to be comfortable in the position he is, with the gap between Noah Gamer and Lecopiade being only 11 seconds. Surely he'll have to pit this lap to ensure that he doesn't lose as much time as he possibly could here, as the gap shrinks even further now, with Noah Gamer being in furious pursuit on his fresh, hard tyres. Lecopiade will stay out. This is going to be an interesting strategy from the Fleet team as he spins at the final chicane. This is going to give an even greater opportunity for Noah Gamer to gain time on the Fleet driver. This is all falling out of his hands. Lecopiade's hands, that is. 5 seconds was that mistakes cost by Lecopiade. This might be a symptom of the poor tyres, or it was a genuine mistake. As he spins again, so clearly he has had an issue with these tyres. Noah Gamer is very close behind now. He'll be looking to take the lead from Lecopiade. Let's see the gap when they cross the timing line. Noah Gamer now in the slipstream area of Lecopiade, 0.9 seconds between these two drivers, as Lecopiade goes very wide, meaning that Noah Gamer will be able to take the lead, but Lecopiade will not be letting that happen without some form of battle going on. But I doubt they'll be able to put up much of a fight to Noah Gamer, considering the tyre situation that he will probably have, considering he's spun twice. That's Noah Gamer taking the lead of the feature race. The driver who made a mistake, Whitey Derek, has now pulled up to P6 from his mistake, which put him down to P9. That was all the way from P3, mind you, so he will not be very happy with himself. He made a mistake in the sprint race, which cost him very minorly, mind you, but now he's made an even more significant mistake. Lecopiade, as expected, has come into the pit lane now. Let's see where he comes out. It will certainly be behind Loosebot, Love My Geordie, and Whitey Derek. Could be close between his teammates though. It doesn't seem to be that way. So Broman might be the only person behind Lecopiade. So he's fallen because of the poor strategy, we'll say, of Fleet. Has fallen back a while into I would say that's P9. I might be corrected in a second. Fallen to P9. Yeah, I believe that's P9. No, P8, correction. He's fallen to P8 while battling with the Audi driver now. The Audi driver will be looking to capitalize on Lecopiade, who will still be adapting to the new grip that he has received. Of course, tyre degradation means that you'll have less grip the further you go on with the tyres, and that means that your lap times will go down, meaning that you will probably get caught by the other drivers around you unless you are extremely skilled at conserving your tyres. Tyre conservation does not seem to be a thing in this race, as we see, I believe, Loose Spot catching up to Shroshek's core in P2 now, only 7 tenths separating them at the start-finish line. Let's see how that will change for the Sector 1 line. They seem to be very close, going through the first hairpin of the lap. Let's see the gap between the two drivers. It's just over a second now, so Shroshek's core has been able to widen the gap, even if it is just by a little. That will relieve a bit of the pressure that he will have at the moment. Love My Geordie, a driver who was very far down at the start of this race, has made it up into P4 and seems to be aspiring further than just outside of the podium. Seems as if Advan will be looking for their second 1-2 in the feature race here at Greece. The gap between the P2 battle has extended further now, so it seems like Loose Spot is dropping back a bit, or made a mistake. Dilwan, the driver you see on your screen, is battling with Reset, and I think I need to correct myself there. Dilwan battling with Incognito Bear, a person that was very further up in the order for the start of this race. Just Miriam is challenging for P9, challenging Broman, the Audi driver, in the Evangelion car. Let's see if he can get double the points that he would be getting right now. As I say that, as Broman makes a huge mistake going into the wall and going over the bumps. That's going to lose him a lot of time. I'm sure it's not enough to lose the position to Toots, who seems to have made an equally poor mistake, but I'm sure we'll be wanting to catch up to that singular points position. Borak Crafter, the other fleet, comes into the pits now, leaving a nice gap for Reset to sort of chill in at the moment. As Shroshek's core is still ruthlessly being pursued by Loose Spots. That's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Loose Spot, 5 tenths separating these two drivers. Loose Spot is in ruthless pursuit of Shroshek's core. He really wants that P2 position, wanting to deny the Evangelion driver a P2, but Loose Spot taking a slower line, mind you, as Shroshek's core makes a mistake out of the chicane, but it's still very close between these two drivers. As Love My Geordie will be looking to get in on some of this action, potentially getting his first finished podium of the season. Both Loosebot and Shropshire School seem to be feeling the pressure at the moment, both making rather large mistakes. The Shropshire School goes wide, similar to the mistake that Loosebot made and Locopiade made when under pressure. Love My Geordie pushing to the absolute limit to try and snatch up one of those podium positions with only 7 laps remaining in this race. Very close between Loosebot and Shropshire School. Speaking of which, Shropshire School comes into the pits along with Love My Geordie. They must be feeling the effects of tyre wear at the moment, but they come into the pits to change their tyres, maybe for an undercut on Loosebot, or if they expect Loosebot to pit sometime soon. I didn't notice this, but Noah Gamer had come into the pits too. We've seen it before, drivers coming back after pitting all the way to win the race after losing significant chunks of time. But it doesn't seem to be too significant to Noah Gamer, who's already gained back a bunch of time since you all have lost by going into the pit lane. I reckon it's about 30 seconds that you lose by going into the pit lane, so Loosebot must have made a mistake to be where he is. I think it's almost sure that Loosebot will be coming into the pit lane soon, and he does. He comes into the pit lane to replace those tyres. It should mean that Noah Gamer takes the lead with Locopiade, a driver who I believe got the undercut on most of these drivers. Will be able to take P2 by the looks of it. Yep, he takes P2 as Loosebot is still stuck in that pit box. That's probably not the ideal stop for him, as Love My Geordie also moves up into P3, and Whitey Derrick seems to have also got the jump on Loosebot, including Shropshire School, a driver that also pit, is now in front of him. So Loosebot has lost a lot of time by not pitting when the others did. An interesting battle forming between these 3 drivers. Loosebot, of course, the Touring driver, just pit, will be at a slight tyre advantage as Whitey Derrick has fallen behind a lot after making what seems to be a slight mistake. And yes, a slight mistake does cost you a lot, especially in F2 and GT3 as well. Toots, a driver who we aren't really seeing in the competitive order, is going for the fastest lap. He's gone purple in the first sector. Let's see if he carries his pace through to the second. Seems relatively clean through the corners that he's taken. Let's see. Goes green in the second sector. It's Loosebot in P5 as Whitey Derrick pits. Love My Geordie in P3, a driver that we didn't really see earlier on in the race, is now a lot closer to victory here. Love My Geordie will be chasing down the fleet car of Locopiade in order to try and secure another Advan 1-2 in a feature race. Noah Gamer went purple in the first sector, but it seems as if he won't capitalize on it as he's lost time in the second sector, but he does take a very nice line through the final chicane, but it seems to be all in vain as he is not able to take the fastest lap. Speaking of fastest laps, our current holder, Shoshek School, will be looking to try and snatch that podium from Lecopiade. As Lecopiade moves down into P3 as Love My Geordie overtakes him, which means that we're in a Advan 1-2 for the second time in 2 weeks. East Sliders, the owner of the Advan team, was not too happy about getting a 1-2 from the crash server that we had in Suwon, but he might get it for real this time around. There's no saying that for sure. The Shroshik School seems to be on a charge for that P2 position and that P3 position. It would be truly amazing for Eastsiders if both of his teams were on the podium. Of course, Evangelion, the team that was acquired by Eastsiders, formerly X21 Racing. So Noah came at P1, followed by his teammate Love My Geordie in P2, and that is one of the Audis which has just parked itself on the side of the road there. So it is Noah Gamer, followed by Love My Geordie, followed by Shroshik School, followed by Loosebot. It's very close between the top two to the position of 5th. I would call Evangelion the B team to Advan, but it doesn't seem to be that way at all. It just seems to be on par with Advan. You couldn't really say it to be comparative to the relationship between Red Bull and AlphaTauri in real Formula 1, but well, it certainly seems like they have a good relationship between their drivers. Only 3 laps remaining, it seems to be fairly certain that at least one of the Advan drivers will be getting a podium in our feature race. Noah Kamer now leading by just over 8 seconds. Let's see if that gap changes to be lowered by his teammate, and it is only slightly by a matter of hundredths, which will be rather inconsistent in the grand scheme of things. So we go on to the final correction, the penultimate lap of this race, as we see our first genuine lappy Lambo fan coming round to be lapped by Noah Gamer after a rather impressive 21 laps. Noah Gamer seems to be taking it rather conservatively. Mind you, all the drivers in the top 40 seem to be keeping it rather consistent, as they will be wanting to keep their positions, as those are rather good and high-paying points positions. For those of you that don't know, the points extend from P1 all the way down to P10. P1 with highest amounts of points, of course, as Loosebot, unfortunately, well, not really unfortunately, has taken P3 from Shroshik School, so it won't seem to be the 1, 2, 3 that he was hoping for, as Noah Gamer made a mistake. Noah flips on the final chicane, but it doesn't seem to have affected him too much, but it has closed the gap between Love My Geordie and Noah Gamer. Love My Geordie will be fighting for that P1 position, but I'm sure, considering that they are teammates, will not be fighting too much for that position. Noah Gamer getting a bit too confident on the bumps, as you saw there. Love My Geordie closing the gap to his teammate. Not all the respect you would expect from 2 drivers, but Love My Geordie certainly seems to want this race win. driver that was denied his first podium at Australia got his first podium in the feature race at Suwon, but now will he be able to take his first F2 win on the final lap of the race? Seems to be a slightly cleaner line and a better exit for Love My Geordie. But still very close between these two drivers. You cannot call what is about to happen. Anything could happen between these two drivers. I cannot quite tell who is in the lead at the moment, but it seems as if Love My Geordie seems to have taken it from Noah Gamer, but it all will be down to the final chicane. Love My Geordie taking a rather clean line. Noah Gamer gets a slightly better exit. This will go down to the line, but it's Love My Geordie winning by a matter of hundredths to his teammate Noah Gamer. Whoa. 3 attempts between the top 3. Luke Sport P3, Noah Gamer P2, and Love My Geordie P1. Well done. P15 to P1. That is quite the achievement for Love My Geordie. He should be very impressed with what he has just done. Noah Gamer will be cursing himself right now, considering that that mistake has certainly cost him a lot of time, and that might have just cost him the race win. He will be furious. See the last couple of points finishes coming round. Incognito rounding out our top 10. As you see the replay. Is that the replay of the finish? I don't think it is. This might be the replay of Noah Gamer flipping. But yeah, I think that's that. Noah Gamer flipping, costing him the race win by the looks of it. He'll be furious about that. I'm sure, if not at the car, it will be at himself. We see the 3 podium sitters lining up in the podium pen. It's a 1-2 for Adfan, very close between their 2 drivers, and I'm sure Noah Gamer still won't be happy with a P2. So, if I was to call my driver of the day for this race, it would certainly, as much as it sounds cliche, would be Love My Geordie. Love My Geordie making a huge mistake in the first couple of laps. He was down at P15 at one point, if my memory is correct, and he's come back to win the race. That's an extraordinary drive from the Advan driver. So we're waiting for the podium ceremony to begin. So the Advan team will be rather happy with their first in-race 1-2. Seem to have a premature celebration music, I'll just ignore that. But what a race. You couldn't call what happened, but it's Loose Sport in P3. The touring driver You might not be impressed with that, but it's Noah Gamer P2 losing it on the second lap. The second final lap, and your winner for today, who's about to come up onto the podium. Love my Geordie! The Advent driver will certainly be rather impressed with himself. These sliders going up on the podium to celebrate with his two drivers for their 1-2. Now the most important part. We'll call it the champagne, but we certainly rose water. This is definitely the most important part of the race, and it is a pure demonstration of the drivers' celebration for their podiums. A massive well done to the Advan team. I'm sure this will be a first, but hopefully not the last for the Advan team. Well, that's it for Formula 2 racing this weekend, but do not miss the next weekend. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our members. You can join their ranks by clicking the join button, which is located next to the subscribe button under the stream. You can join the reserve rank for just 99 cents, and it will be supporting the entire of the media team and bring you even better quality. And I don't know how to explain it, but until then, have a good day.